All right, there we go. Look at that. We are live and in living color this Friday morning. It's Michael Knight in New York. Vinnie,
It's a
one from
fractious
up,
day.
one from down.
Yep. Well, welcome to Friday. As fractious as it is, this is the type of day where Donald Trump gets into the sauce early at the White House. He takes some of the psychedelic microdose that he's recommending for all the ships at sea. And the captains who go through the Strait of Hormuz have to take that psychedelic that the Trump administration is now pushing at top prices all across the drug sphere, and then they
Well,
have
it
to
depends
navigate
on
the
how
state of Hormuz.
if you compute it by how Donald Trump's different way of figuring percentages, or if you compute it the way mathematicians for thousands of years have computed percentages, or if you just figure out that they have figured out that the best way to keep us all quiet is to just get us all stoned. Just
Doses.
hand us all a little acid.
It's not a lot. It's not too much. It's do put aside several hours during the day. You don't feel like doing your taxes or driving to the store. Maybe take the dog for a walk. Maybe get out of the house. My advice is don't take psychedelics without planning the day. Have your equipment handy. Have your friends who are gonna respond if you need to seek medical attention, and don't take the psychedelic and then plan to stay in the apartment all day. No, I
Well,
think that's
yeah,
not the way to
I'm going
do
to
it.
tell you that. Yeah, that's a. I
It's
mean,
a
at the very least, have a park handy. Don't
yeah,
drive
it's
a
a
park that you can take a bus to. You don't want to drive to it.
right.
Um, you just want to be in a state of confidential euphoria.
Yeah, don't put yourself in a situation where you're going to have to remember all your passwords to get something done. It's not
Ain't
going
gonna
to.
happen.
That's not a good plan.
Yeah, that ain't happening, man. You ain't remembering passwords. Could you imagine what if this whole computer thing had come along in the '60s, to the degree it is today, and people on acid and dope had to remember their passwords all the time? I mean, it just wouldn't have happened.
As it is, I can't remember my Apple password. It's the one thing that it's the most difficult thing for me to navigate on the computer world. What's your Apple ID? You can't renew, you can't get your update for whatever program you're involved with, whatever app you're excited about without the Apple ID. And I have to, did you forget your password? Yes, I always forget my password. And I always remember to replace it with something that I can recall and write it down and put it in my wallet or something. And then invariably, Apple ID does not work. Apple ID, no,
Well,
can't get you going.
I've been lucky enough to that I would probably say that my Apple ID and my password have been the one consistent thing that has worked for me in all of these years that I've been using Apple products. It's probably the one thing that I there are other passwords and other programs that I have, and I can't seem to remember them. I can't seem to, and then when you change a password, forget about it.
Forget
Uh,
about it.
because because first of all, nobody uses different passwords for every program. I guess some people do. I don't know. I don't trust
I
that
think some
thing that
people
comes
do.
on your screen enough to say, you make up my password. I'll make up my own password. I just
I there's got to be some luck and some familiarity with it. If you let them make up several numbers and letters out of order that don't spell anything or mean anything, you're just asking for trouble.
yeah, it's stupid. It's crazy. It's not gonna happen. So you have to have a password that you can somewhat remember. Then, now that we've been using computers for 20 years, I've got different passwords for every site that I'm on. and there's a thing in it in your phone that remembers your passwords, but you got to have a password to get to that.
Yeah.
And I don't remember that password. So I know that there's an easier way to do it. And I guess they're coming out with that, with the whole, I guess the thing where they send you the code or they send you this. That finally worked to a resolution yesterday, because I spent an hour of my life yesterday trying to figure out my password to my tenant portal where I live. So the most unimportant password possibly in the world that I could need, because I pay my rent by, here's a check. It's yeah, you want me to give you my this information and that information. Tell you what, here's a check. This is how I pay my rent. Thank you very much. I don't want you to take it out of my bank account. I don't want you to do this. I don't want you to do that. I want to hand you a check every first of the month, and here you go. Or third of the month if it's on a holiday or something like that.
And your landlord doesn't need to know your password. The landlord doesn't even know what your website's about. He doesn't have to be on your email. He doesn't have to get access to all your pictures.
Yeah, I don't want. I don't want. I just want to hand you a check. There it is. There's my rent. Now leave me alone. I did acquiesce and give the electric company, the direct deposit thing, because sometimes you forget. You get a piece of mail, you throw it on a desk, and you forget about it. I find that's helpful. Those kind of bills. But the landlord, no, I'm sorry. I want to do as little of that as possible and not need another password in my life. I'm sick of passwords.
And I sometimes forget my username because I don't always. You don't always go with your name.
Right.
You go with a variation of your name.
I have two or three different usernames that I use. And so the trick is to figure out which username goes with that particular website or program that I'm trying to get into. But I do have them separated into work, pleasure, and leisure. So that at least
you separate your leisure from your pleasure if you can.
Yeah, I separate because there's so many leisures and pleasures that I want to separate them up. It's the only way I can make the system work. I know it's a bit of an addled system, but it works for me, so I use it. And so far, except for certain things, there are things that cross over from work to pleasure. There are certain, I don't know, things that change from time to time, and I try to change them over on my list. The one salvation I have is I lost my password to GarageBand a long time ago, and that's proved to be the best thing that I could have done, because I was spending way too much for a guy that doesn't know how to write music or anything. I was spending way too much time on GarageBand trying to figure out
tracks.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out different tracks and different things, and you know what? It's a total waste of time. I don't know. Now you just go to AI and they have these things on Facebook. Sing a song into AI, put your picture in there, and it'll. I saw one yesterday that said, "Oh, they'll produce a whole album for you with AI."
Sure, they will. Maybe the Mets should change their username. Maybe that's the problem with the New York Mets.
No, the problems with the New York Mets go deeper than that. The problems with the New York Mets seem to go totally deeper. You know what? It's you can't make that many changes to a baseball team. I've always thought, and expect it to just go, click like that. It's going to take more time than it would take if you had everybody there. And I still think that the Mets made mistakes. I don't know how in the world they let Pete Alonso go. Edwin Diaz, I could understand. I mean, a reliever, sometimes you got to play him,
Yeah.
like a deck of cards. You got to figure out when it's gonna go downhill, really more than a deck of cards, like a used car. You get the car, you use it for a couple of years, and then you say, it's time to sell this thing. And I think that was the situation with Edwin Diaz. Now, what's happened? Well, he's injured with the Dodgers, so you won't see him around for a while. Maybe he'll be back for the playoffs. Maybe he won't. But that's the way it rolls sometimes. Luckily, I, as you, have a couple of different teams that we root for. Of course, you not as hard as the Dodgers, me not as hard as the Mets. But I have the Mariners, who are in a bit of a slump at the moment, a hole. Not
Raleigh's
so,
starting to hit.
yeah, not so dissimilar to what the Mets are in, except that they didn't lose a lot of people. They lost a couple of people, but nothing. And they signed what they thought was the most important thing. The thing is, and as we thought last year, Cal has not, the big dumper has not proven to be yet the player he was last year. And until he does, it's probably going to keep this team down because, and I don't know, again, we don't know that Cal was a 1 year phenomenon or a solid superstar. You hope that he's a solid superstar. You're hoping for his sake. He's a nice guy. It seems like you want to have somebody that's a nice guy leading your team, and he seems to be, but I don't know. It changes from year to year.
And he's got 3 home runs now. 3 dingers.
I think he's got 3, yeah. But he'll come. I think he'll come around. I think, last year he was the leader of the team.
Definitely.
I don't know that he has that role again this year. I think that, it's that this club is still trying to find its way. Who the leaders are going to be, who the winners are going to be, who the guys are going to be that everybody latches onto. Now, a lot of people say but they stopped the hot dogs from heaven, that they should have never done that. Much as Met fans are saying that it was the visit from Mamdani that sent the Mets into the pooper.
It's not easy to lose 10 games. It's just not that easy.
Well, yeah, it takes a while. It takes
you could be on your way to losing 10 games, but blunder into winning one of them and have to start all over.
Well, I mean, everybody is, I'm still going to go with it's early yet for everybody. Right now, I think that people have to just kind of calm down a little bit. Let this all play out. The Mariners go to St. Louis. They play the Cardinals. And we'll see what happens. Sometimes the road is good for players.
Yeah, you're right. Let's get out of New York for a bit and see what happens.
Right. No, I'm talking about the Mariners are going to St. Louis. Josh Naylor is a guy that I think is kind of sharing the lead of this team with Cal Raleigh.
Yes.
And which is a good thing. I like Josh. I like his presence. I like his energy. I think he's a nice, as we saw at the end of last year, he was a nice addition to this team, to the Mariners.
Fit into the personality of the team.
Well, no, actually, Michael, I think it was the opposite. I think he was a presence. He was opposite of what they had. This was a team of kind of quiet guys non-braggadocious. And here comes Josh Naylor, and he's at second base trying to screw the
Bit of a hot dog.
screw the catcher up with the signals and try to make him think he's stealing the signals. And that wasn't, that was shocking to Mariners. Oh my God, that's not what Mariners do.
We don't steal things. Give them back those signals. Give them back. Put them back.
The same story with the Mariners too. Is it always seems like the Mariners could use a bat. I think every team could use a bat.
Damn right.
But I think right now the Mariners could use a bat. And one guy that I know a long time, Jim Palazzo, just chimed in and said trade a quality starting pitcher for a quality bat. Well, right now I'm not trading anybody quite yet. Let's see how things play out a little bit more.
Also, invariably, as we learned in our time in sports radio, the suggestions of the fans about who to trade, how to trade, and who you get for your trade are usually so ridiculous that there's no point in bringing them up in terms of calling a general manager of the St. Louis Cardinals and saying, I'm going to trade you a quality bat for a quality starting pitcher. And they say, well, I don't know who's calling here, but we're not taking calls at the moment.
Well, at some point you gotta, but I always, what my thing always with the trades is all right, call the general manager of that base, go pick up the phone, call Whitey Herzog, and see if he'll make that trade with you. And if he does, give us a call back. I'll get a note to Woody Woodward or whoever the general manager of the Mariners, and we'll get to it. We'll go. It's just these clubs, these baseball teams are living, breathing things, and every year changes. There's just these different things that happen among teams, distractions, different things. Now I got to think that Cal Raleigh, with all of the off-season stuff that went on last year.
Yeah,
that it's probably going to take him a bit of time to get into the groove. He didn't have those off-season distractions the year before, so it's going to take him a little bit of time. So it'll, I would bet that the Mariners will come around and start to play good ball before the Mets, before the Giants.
The Giants took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers in L.A. In San Francisco.
Yeah, which is a nice sign. Anytime you take, you beat the Dodgers, it's just psychologically.
Yeah, it's not easy to do.
Teams that don't like each other.
That's true. And they got into a bit of a pissy fit. The catcher for the Dodgers, new kid, walked away from a close play at home plate where Jung-Ho Lee, the outfielder, had a hard slide and hurt himself. Not enough to come out of the game immediately. He did come out two innings later. And he sort of sat on his duff at home plate and bemoaned the fact that he had a lousy slide and that hurt. And the catcher, walking back to the dugout, look at Jung-Ho Lee on the ground, then looks at the Dodger dugout and goes, "Fuck him." Obviously, was what he said. And that worked until the next day, got to the 6th inning. The Giants were in ahead, and so the starting pitcher, Logan Webb, plunked the catcher when he was in his last at bat in the 6th inning. And that threatened to bring storm clouds to the field of play. And it would have in another year if it had been Willie Mays against John Roseboro or Juan Marichal against Junior Gilliam. But the Dodgers have no commitment to hating the Giants as much as the Giants hate the Dodgers.
Right.
So they did nothing. Nothing happened. No reaction. It was just odd. The catcher got plunked, went to first base, and it was as if he'd been asked to come down for donuts in the morning. I got the coffee and Coiler. Sit down, enjoy yourself.
To Mike Cuellar?
Yeah.
Thought I'd throw that in for those of you. Go Google it. The team that I've been enthusiastic about and it's a really interesting division. Is that everybody in the division is over 500? Is the NL Central? It was just a couple of days ago that the Pirates were sitting on top of the division. They're a few games over 500. The Cubs are in the lead with a 16-9 record. Then the Reds and the Cardinals, and then the Pirates and the Brewers. But even the Brewers in last place in the division at 13-11. Again, it's early, but I like what I'm seeing out of the Pirates. I like, there seems to be a gritty, gutty. Nobody believes in us, so we'll take care of this thing
And
ourselves.
that's one of their personalities. It doesn't come up every season, but it comes up often. And if the Pirates are successful, it's because they have a gritty, scrappy team.
Like the city. I mean, when
Yeah.
the team reflects the city of Pittsburgh,
And fans multiply it.
they tend to do well. And it's interesting in that, all the attention in Pittsburgh right now is on the NFL draft. They had 350,000 people show up yesterday
Wow.
for the NFL draft, which is being held. Did you ask me where they were holding the draft? And I saw it. And I thought I got it right, and I did. They built a tent-like
Mhm.
structure, a stage outside the football stadium, and that's where they held the draft. That's where they had the draft. I cannot believe that 350,000 people would show up for the freaking NFL draft.
So you can boo your front office when they make their pick.
I just it's one of those things to me. I mean, traditionally, I don't care about the draft until the player is playing.
Let me see you play before I get all excited about your
Yeah,
upside.
I care about who's number one because that's always a cool thing, and who is number last, who is Mr. Irrelevant.
Well, number one wasn't going to be much of a mystery this year as Mendoza went to the Raiders.
Yeah, and the Raiders will screw him up. He's just glad he didn't go to the Jets because they could probably screw him up quicker.
You're right. They might be able to do it more efficiently than the Raiders. The Raiders will give him hope and then take it away, but the Jets will never give you hope.
Well, you just know it's you just look at the long list of failures for the Jets. You just go, maybe this is our year. No, this isn't even your freaking decade.
And they do it with different general managers and different coaches every time, and the results are the same.
Just seems to be the same, no matter who they draft, how they draft, where they draft. It's just if you're a Jets fan, you just know that it's over. It's the curse of leaving New York.
So it's not so early for the Jets.
I don't know. What did they draft? They drafted an offensive lineman, I believe, but again, I don't pay that much attention to it. I pay more attention to the people that spend thousands of dollars
to just sit there and yell at their coach,
to fly across the country, buy the uniform stuff, all the equipment, the stuff that you have to wear to go to the big draft party, to sit in a crowd of 350,000 people that can't be comfortable. I'm sorry, no matter where you are.
Do Primanti's deliver? Can you order a
And
sandwich in Pittsburgh? Will they deliver it?
I don't know if they'll deliver it. I mean, I'm sure that you can get yourself a good sandwich. Well, I know you can get yourself a good sandwich in Pittsburgh. I don't think Primanti is delivering sandwiches. I think they're all tied up with the crew of the Pit.
They're busy.
I mean, there's they filmed just a few blocks away from the stadium at the Allegheny General Hospital, so it wouldn't shock me if they were busy. But I guess the Pit is wrapped up for the season already. But it just goes beyond me why people would spend that kind of money to go to that type of event.
It's just an event. It's not a game. Nothing gets settled. No matter how happy or unhappy you are with the choice, it's not going to affect the game. It's not probably even going to affect preseason games.
No, it's gonna, the first time. I mean, I would almost understand more somebody saying, "All right, the mini camp is going to be held in, I don't know, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, something like that." Um, if they sign their pick, I'll spend my money and go to the mini camp or go to the training camp when it starts to happen. Because at least there at the training camp, I can hang out. I can, watch the players work out, stuff like that. This obsession with the front office is, I just think it's bizarre.
Just helps you with your gambling, helps you with your
Well, yeah,
wagering.
yeah. It just to me is one of those things that you, as a non-psychopathic sports fan, which is what I like to call myself. I like to call myself I'm not a casual sports fan because I live, breathe, and diet um up until, really, to be honest with you, up until my coma year. That's when the thing came upon me that there were more important things in life than who wins and loses a game.
Right.
Before that, maybe the most important thing in life to me was who wins or loses a game. But that you go through life events like that, you change your perspective
I like the
on.
idea that they float the idea that this player is coming to your team and there's going to be a transition immediate. He's going to start, going to play the entire season. He's going to bring everything that he had as a college player to the pros and be a successful, well-adjusted, aggressive, highly thought of, successful player. Don't worry about the idea that they tell you that a quarterback can't come to the NFL and succeed in their first year. Rookies just don't walk in and take over the team.
How many
Even
guys? How many guys have we seen? Have we talked to? And the first words out of their mouth is, "Boy, this sure is different than what I expected."
yeah,
Right, right. How many players that we have talked to over our careers where they have said, "Wow," and talk to them again in the 12th week of the schedule when the college schedule normally would end. And,
and they're
they're
beat
looking
up and
like they
they
have
can't.
4 games left to play or 5 games left to play.
And that's where you make your real money. At the end of the year, you got to get to the playoffs.
That's where you got to be what you got to be. It's a little crazy, but be that all as it may, it's God bless the people that are excited about it. Keeps them off the street. Although people in Pittsburgh were not happy because the people in Pittsburgh, kind of caught the disease that everybody else has. We have an event in town, and we're going to try to get as much money as we can out of it. So a parking space in Pittsburgh, anywhere downtown, was $50 to $100. To park at the Rivers Casino, which was not too far from the site of the NFL draft, they wanted $100
For
They have a
parking.
huge parking garage nearby. I guess from what I understand, they dropped the price to 50 because, listen, people that grow up in Pittsburgh know how to pinch a dime, man. They know how to pack their lunch to go to a Pirates game. They don't have to go to the game and buy hot dogs and a soda. They put it in a brown bag and they bring it in. That's Pittsburgh.
I got to have salted peanuts, or I can't watch a
Yeah,
game in
you
person.
go to the deli and you buy a bologna and American cheese with mustard and on white bread, and you put it in the bag and you take it to the ballpark.
Same ingredients as would have been in your Pittsburgh Pirate hot dog, except in a different order.
A different order, a different configuration, but yeah, basically the same. And you save whatever it is. Although, again, the hot dogs in Pittsburgh, one thing about the owner that I always give him credit for is he's kept the games, the food, everything at a Pirates game reasonably priced. You can go to a game with your family for $100. You can get out of there for, they even have an all-you-can-eat section where
Really?
you can go and you pay a certain, amount for a ticket. I don't know if it's 25 or $50, $30 or something like that. You get a wristband, and you can eat all the hot dogs, all the popcorn, I think all the peanuts, if I'm not mistaken, all the soda.
Sauerkraut.
Yeah, take all the yeah, have a vat of sauerkraut. Take it back to your seat. And as somebody that eats sauerkraut raw, I agree with that. I like that. But so the Pirates game, I always believe, is one of the best bargains in Major League Baseball because you get that beautiful stadium. You get to look out and look at the city. You get the food. You get the fireworks on Friday night, and it's a fun. And now that they're winning,
Hey,
it's even more fun. That you're likely that you'll see a more likely that you'll see a win than see a loss, which is something. But that's what the philosophy of the Pirates ownership is that we are an entertainment company. Um, and sometimes that can be good. Many times it can be bad. So let's see. What else did I, and I know I want to get to a couple of things today, but the one thing I did want to get to here is, and I'm trying to find it. I had the story up, and then this whole business, and it must disgust you, but you saw that they arrested. There are police that actually arresting people and doing their job. They arrested a soldier,
mm-hmm.
one
And
of our foreign
gambler and
veterans,
wagerer.
uh,
He's a
and uh,
wager.
and a wagerer on betting on the start of the Venezuelan war, saying that we were going to attack this particular um, country, Venezuela, at a certain time, and he had made I think close to $500,000.
Yeah, $400,000, I think.
Yeah, by betting on this platform that you can put these kind of bets on, the kind of bets that we only heard about in England for
Right.
many years, but now a couple of these markets have opened up in the United States, and they've arrested him.
They did indeed. Insider
And,
information.
for trading on insider information, and it boy, I tell you, I mean, I'm so happy that they actually did this. It's not. Listen, you know me in gambling. I'm not a fan of sports gambling. I'm not. If you want to go to a casino, you want to gamble, like that. If you want to lay a wager on a game, um, I'm not opposed to that. You want to play a football card or something? I'm not opposed. But this insanity that's gone wild, where you're betting on, this player to get this many points, or this guy to get this many yards. So these prediction markets, I think are sick, and it's just another step on the downgrading of our society. So anyway, Sergeant Gannon Ken Van Dyke.
Well, there's a military name for you.
Is used the bets because he was, I guess, the special officers, special forces soldier. He was, I guess, somebody who had access to this information. He was an information officer. So he was somebody who would get this information ahead of everybody else.
Make use of it.
And he was figuring, I'm going to clean up.
And he forgot about the electronic trail that he left directly from his bet to the gambling house, to the results, to the payout, the whole thing.
I don't know that he forgot about it because he had the betting platform, I guess, close his account the day after he collected the money. He seemed to try to figure out a few ways to, according to the New York Times report, to hide the money. I don't know that it's easy anymore to hide $400,000.
Well, if it's been paid to you and there's a record of that, what does it matter where you hide it? We know you got it. If you don't have it today, that's not our problem. We're charging you for the gambling that earned you the sum, and the circumstances surrounding where you got the information that led you to place the bet.
And what he didn't figure out is that these gambling platforms, and it's not just Polymarket, which is the platform he used, but all of these different gambling platforms have a vested interest in seeing you not collect the money. Polymarket has a vested interest in seeing you not get the $400,000 because that's $400,000 in their pocket that they don't
Just
have to pay
think
out.
of it as insurance. You've bought insurance, you need insurance, you have insurance. We don't want to pay you when you want to collect on that insurance.
Right. And this is not the first time that something like this has happened. It's happened with a number of these gambling platforms who have either flat out refused to pay because of some technicality, or time and time again have found something to pay people either a lowered amount on the bet, or, when you get these big bets, they try to figure out a way not to pay you because they're really basically bookie operations, where the bookie is going to try to figure out a way not to pay you. If it's $400,000 and you owe Sal at the candy store, he owes you $400,000, you better have somebody else turn the key in your car to start it.
And you know how Sal is about
Sal has a vested interest in seeing you disappear from the face of the earth.
Because he doesn't need you to go into his candy store. He needs you to pay.
Right. He needs you. He needs somebody not to collect the money. So what I do find interesting about this, and what I find not hopeful, what I find disturbing is that there are lots of rumors around that several people in the administration
exactly. Let's go to the Iran invasion.
Have done this with the Iran invasion, and I'm not hearing anything about them being investigated. So what I don't want to see is this one. I don't know even what to call him, but this soldier, this Master Sergeant Gannon Ken Van Dyke, sounds like he might be like Mark Wayne Mullen's cousin, right? With a name like that.
It's possible.
There's some cousining going on there. There's some,
and it's too late to stop that.
Yeah, you can't stop that. But anyway, Gannon Ken Van Dyke is going to be the fall guy, while Uday and Kusei and company,
and
Hegseth, and all of these people go free after they've enriched themselves.
And you can count on that continuing. There'll be no investigation. Just find out if Kash Patel got a little money when he knew what the invasion date was.
Yeah, I mean, again, somebody is going to take the fall. Somebody is going to take the complete hit for all of these people.
Yes, definitely.
Because they'll be able to point to Master Sergeant Gannon Ken Van Dyke. It would only be fitting if Mark Wayne Mullen is running the committee that goes after Van Dyke, because it'll take 4 hours to say both their names. So hopefully they will continue, the Justice Department, this investigation, and they will follow the investigation wherever it leads, even if the doors that it leads to say Trump on them. I don't think that'll happen. I'm not confident that will happen, but I'd like to see it happen. In the world of things happening, things I'd like to see happen, I would love to see Uday and Kusei there.
Uday got a government contract yesterday for some billion-dollar figure for a new venture that they're working on. And the first customer that they got for their new company was the United States government.
Yeah, imagine that.
Which ordered a stack of, what do you guys make? We're not certain yet. We're working on the first product. Well, we want to buy some. Here's $25 billion. Whatever it is you're making, when you make it, send it to us.
Yeah, send us, matter of fact, send us here's $1 billion. Start here so you can buy materials.
So you can
Then
get
you
going,
can
get a
make
leg up. Yeah.
What business does that? Is that a normal? I mean, I'm not a big businessman. Is that a normal business thing? Is you go to the government, you say, "I need $1 billion to rent a building and
And
get some
make some stuff.
telephones,
Yeah.
and
And
and and it's not a loan. It's a here's some money.
it's your first order.
We'll take it. We'll take it off the top when we deliver the first order. If we don't deliver it, well, sorry, charge it
What
up
do
to the
you
American taxpayer.
what do you want it to be? We could make a food product, deliver that, and you guys could eat it. We could make a military product, we deliver that, and you guys can shoot it. We'll do an intelligence program. You guys can do that. We'll study it, and then you make an AI version of it and sell it to somebody else. You can't lose.
So yeah. So again, it's here we go with the crooked stuff with them.
Well, they got to get their corruption going because it's about the only thing they've done successfully. Everything else that they've managed to foster in terms of programs or efforts or endeavors has been an abject failure. Trump is the most incompetent, and those around him are the most incompetent government workers that we have ever seen, ever encountered. They can't do anything correctly.
Drain the swamp. Isn't that what they were going to do?
They did not drain. Well, that was right after Mexico was going to be forced to build a wall.
Yeah.
We're still stuck on Project One.
Yeah, that was the big thing. Mexico is going to build this wall, and all of these people believed it. Hundreds of thousands of people
And it was
believed
going to
it.
be a wall hundreds of feet high. Nobody could climb over it. But it wasn't
They
ever
haven't
finished,
built
so you
human.
just walk around it.
Not even Elon Musk's robots will be able to leap this thing in a single bound.
They're going to try, though.
Yeah, he'll try to get him to jump, but it's not going to happen. Don't you worry about it.
How
We'll
much
get
do
that
robots
thing built.
weigh? Well, they weigh about 400 pounds apiece because of the equipment. And you want them to jump over this incredibly high wall?
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't make it guarantee that because we never built the wall. But if we ever do build the wall, these robots can jump over it.
They will build them. Listen, we'll fix it. We'll make it. We'll make it. We'll make it AI. We're going to invent AI.
We're going to build the wall. We just don't have it today. We got the
Right.
robots ready to jump it, though.
Well, we have the stuff. It's in a garage.
It's good stuff.
If you
The
go
best
into
stuff.
this garage, you look on the left, and we have all the stuff for the wall, stuff that people donated money for.
You turn tootin'.
These racist bastards who thought that it was such a good idea to build this wall that they decided that we would donate the money and to build the wall.
But you said Mexico is going to pay for it. Well, they are, but you're
These
just
guys
putting
wanted to help the president save face.
There
So
you go.
they paid for it, but the funny thing is they bought a little bit of steel, they bought a little bit of concrete, they bought some sacrete, and they put that on the one side of the garage.
And they forgot about it.
And then they said, well, we also got to come up with this health plan. So they printed up the health plan. In 2 weeks, we got to come up with this. And we'll put that on the other side of the garage. So they don't get mixed up with each other because we don't want that to happen.
I can tell what's going to happen. They mixed them up.
We don't want a disaster happening. We want the people to believe in the president, to believe in President Trump, to believe in what he can do, to believe that he will straighten this country out. He's going to drain the swamp. Where's he going to put all that water? Well,
Mexico, make him pay for it.
Well, no, he's going to bottle it. He's going to bottle it, and he's going to sell it to us. All the stinky water from the swamp will be available on your grocery store shelves. It's Trump water.
They call it Trump water?
Trump water. Exact same chemical content as piss.
Wow, that's a coincidence.
What do you think he's always in the bathroom?
I never asked. I just
and they do have a sub brand called MAGA water.
That's tasty.
It's I don't know. I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't taste it. I wouldn't even put it on my car. I wouldn't use it to shine my white walls. So that's going on. By the way, before we get away from the stuff, did you happen to know that the steel that's being used in the renovation of the White House to build this great big ballroom, this ugly gold encrusted piece of crap that the president of the United States, who's supposed to be looking out for the United States interest, do you know, have you heard that this steel is not even coming from this country?
Donated Azerbaijani steel, which is built to specifics that are not conducive with construction.
That the construction engineers are looking at this steel and saying, I don't know if we can use this stuff.
We can't use this shit. If you want this ballroom to be used with people in it dancing and eating, this is not the stuff to use. I see it's free, and that's a good thing, but its origins and its stability, the properties of this steel are not what we need.
Well, it's not. I don't know if I'm going to let my company install this steel. I don't know if I want to take the chance of putting this steel up and this thing collapsing 5 years.
Wait till you see the guys I got to do the drywall. If you think the steel's trouble, just you wait.
Yeah, they worked on my casino. Matter of fact, a few of them are still waiting to get paid.
There are invoices right here on my desk.
This big fucking America first bullshit artist, this phony prick president, has decided that we shouldn't use American steel. We should use steel from somewhere else.
It's another deal brought to you by Donnie from Queens.
Yeah, how do you like that? Places along the Monongahela River that make steel. How do you like that? Places along the Ohio River that make steel, the places that have smokestacks that have been idle. How do you like that? USS Steel. How do you like that? All of the different towns that depend on American steel in Pittsburgh and Western Pennsylvania, up and down the Ohio, up and down the Allegheny, up and down the Youghiogheny.
Would a sample sip of Trump water taste better than the Monongahela water?
Good question. I'm not going to try it.
That's not. We're going to have somebody else establish the differences and similarities. We can't taste it.
So that's so. To me, that's one of the most annoying things. Is that he's basically said, fuck you to Western Pennsylvania. By the way, one of the areas that put him over the top to be president, and one of the biggest areas where you see people regretting it.
And Futterman is completely gone over to the dark side and can't be reasoned with.
Nobody knows what Fetterman's thinking. Nobody, least of all he.
Right, and he's not worried about it, but other people are concerned.
I just don't feel like the guy's in his right mind.
No. He doesn't appear. He does not present to
be in his right mind since the stroke.
Right.
And it looks like and listen, he's going to be up for re-election. I don't think he's got a prayer of winning. I don't know who's going to primary him, but somebody is going to have to.
Might not make much difference. A living, breathing candidate will beat him.
Yeah. But the Democrats got to come up with somebody and primary the guy, because I don't think he's going to go. And they're going to dump money. As a matter of fact, the Republicans will probably dump money into his campaign because he thinks that they'll jump on over to his that he will jump on over to their side.
Well, more proof, Vinnie, that he's not in his right mind is to consider the events leading up to this election and the midterms and come to the conclusion that backing Trump instead of being a Democrat was the best idea he could come up with. I'm going Trump all the way. I'm going to surprise people. They'll still be shocked at first, but they'll come around. They'll see that I got it right.
Well, and here's the thing I don't understand, Michael. about these people. If somebody insulted my wife, if somebody insulted my kids, if somebody insulted on a national level, as Trump has done to Marco Rubio, as Trump has done to, just go down the list, Mitch McConnell. I mean, all of these different people that Trump has insulted. And yet they've done everything they can do to enable him to be in office, to get that second term.
Have you seen our Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, anywhere in the past month?
Last time I saw him, he was wearing size 14s, running down the hall. He looked like a little kid.
Hey, those were a gift from President Trump. Let's have a little respect. He tried to get the size right.
And he wore them.
Yeah.
They all wore them. Because they were afraid to say, sir, you gave me the wrong size.
These don't fit. And I don't like these brogans. These Florsheims.
Yeah. How do you explain that? Well, actually, it does explain.
It explains itself. That's who we're doing. That's everything. The world we live in. Yeah.
That's where we're living is that we don't have, say what you want about Joe Biden. And I'm sure the people will. Say what you want about Joe Biden. His cabinet people, if they disagreed with him, would say to him, Mr. President, this is why we can do that. This is why we can't do that. Right. This is why we can. This is why we can't. But unfortunately, when you have a leader who only wants to bring agreement with him out and not listen to any of the negative or any of the reasons why or any of the dangers of a situation or anything, you get what you give, as the New Radicals sang so eloquently. By the way, a bulletin coming across that Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff will travel to Pakistan on Saturday to hold peace talks with Iran. So that ought to be a raging success.
Do they know where they're going? Because they've had trouble getting to the hotel in the past. They pack their stuff, they fly to Islamabad. Then when it's time to get to the hotel, they can't even remember the name of it. And it's embarrassing. We're going to get there this time. We're going to actually get to the site.
I will notice that there's one name missing from that roster.
See a recent conversion to Catholicism.
Well, he is. Unfortunately, the Catholic Church has said in
issues.
No uncertain terms that we're changing our mind. We might revoke your Catholic license. We might revoke your communion license. We maybe would like to get rid of you. Can we give you back to the Protestants? Do we have to, once you convert, do we have to keep you around? Or can we?
It's embarrassing when everybody's getting their wafer and their wine and their business, and to have you in line with them is discouraging to real Catholics.
Yeah, because we think you we think you might follow the priest around and tell him how to give out communion. You're not doing that right.
He doesn't.
You need to hold the chalice under the plate, and the plate with the altar boy. Altar boy, come here. You're smarter.
And get the napkin in there. Come on.
And by the way, we have. Let's see. We have. Can you imagine Joe Biden in office right now? Well. Actually, you know what? I think Joe Biden right now would still be better than Donald Trump. And there's no way that I would see Joe Biden in office right now. No way I could see Joe Biden. And listen, don't get me started on Joe Biden, because he did his part to cause this whole situation.
He did.
Anyway.
And the people organizing his reelection and his run up to remember, he was going to go no matter what. He didn't have the energy or the brains to debate Trump, and they were going to go with it. They were going to say, I know it looks bad now, but just wait till Joe gets his energy back. Wait till he finds his edge again. Wait till he finds a word that resonates with anybody.
Right.
Wait till he has his lunch. He's always better after lunch.
And it was, and listen, Michael, it was that thing where you get that job. Now, originally, Joe Biden said, I'm going to get the job for 4 years. I'm going to bring the country back together, and then I'm going to skip off into the sunset.
Time to hand it
But
off, Joe.
yeah, but once you get the limousine, once you get the codes, once you get the stuff that goes along with being president, it's hard to leave.
You saw the Lord of the Rings. What happened to Gollum when he finally got the ring? It wasn't a good deal. It didn't go smoothly. He lost the ring. He had to give up the precious. How did that go? It didn't go well. And same thing with Joe Biden. It was time to give up the ghost, time to give up the power, time to hand it off to Kamala. He couldn't do it. And the people around him said, just don't make up your mind. The clock will run out and you'll be the candidate. You'll see it's going to work out. Now, you're not feeling your best. You're not acting your best. And we can't make out what you say during the debates. Okay, that's a negative. But I see it all clearing up. The clouds will part. You'll see. You'll be the president,
Yeah,
Joe.
it'll be okay.
Yeah,
It'll be okay.
mostly.
So no, I couldn't imagine Joe Biden in office right now. I think Joe Biden did this country a disservice by going, excuse me, going back on his word and not doing what he was supposed to do. So in many, I'm disappointed. Listen, I'm disappointed in many politicians right now. I don't know that there's a whole lot of politicians that I look at right now and say these people are straight up honest people that we should be looking at and saying that these people are great for our country. I don't know how many people have the interest of this country. I saw an interview yesterday with John Ossoff, who is the senator from Georgia, who is up for re-election. And Ossoff, for the first 10 minutes of his conversation, spoke about how when the Democrats get back in office, as many people think they will in the midterms, that they will hunt down and find these people and make sure that they pay, and there's going to be this trial and this committee and that. And I'm sitting there yelling at the TV, listen, you idiot. This is not what people want to hear. If the Democrats go out there with this, they're going to sink themselves quicker than the Titanic, because people are not concerned about going after this guy and going after that guy. They are concerned that you are showing up with a plan.
Are you saying a single hull passenger?
Price.
Are you saying a single hull passenger ship going across the Atlantic into iceberg-infested waters is not the best idea?
Probably not. And going
it's
after
too late. It's too late to put another hull on that thing.
And going to the people with the idea that you want to have more trials and more stuff going on. No, what you want to do is you want to come up with a plan to be able to fix what's wrong right now.
Fixing is what we need. Economy. And a lot of the structure of government has been erased. There's not even a Department of Education anymore. There's no CDC. Right. There's no national medical policy. There's nobody leading the Pentagon. We're firing generals and leaders there as fast as we can, so the peak head said looks like a veteran. There's nobody working anywhere in the structure of government on the benefit of the people anymore. And so whoever becomes president, when you become president, Vinnie, your first 4 years are going to be fixing it up. And I mean, bringing in the best carpenters and refurbishers that you can and fixing what's been broken.
I want a young guy or woman with a plan. I want somebody that's going to lay out a plan to me, not speak to me in political gibberish, but it's going to say, we're going to do this. My first 90 days in office, I'm going to freeze wages and prices. We're going to give everybody a check to help them out.
Well, don't freeze them where they are. You got to roll back the price. Got to roll back the price to pre-war prices.
We're going to help. We're going to work with these oil companies, this company, that company. We're not going to rescue Spirit Airlines. We're going to let them fall out like things happen in business. When the guy on the corner store can't pay his rent, the landlord comes and they take the store away. When the United Arab Emirates can't pay for something, we don't hand them. You don't hand them the money. You say sorry. Well, how much you want for those planes? Can we buy them from you at a cheap price?
We made
That's
them
how the
after
world
all.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how the world works. And this stuff of this insanity of bailing out Spirit Airlines, this insanity of sending billions of dollars to the United Arab Emirates, one of the richest countries in the world. The insanity of doing that is far beyond anything I can think of, Michael. We got to take care of people here. We got to take care of the people who are hurting here. We got to take care of
Well,
of
we have Bobby
people.
Kennedy on our side. Bobby Kennedy is going to work with the medical structure of the nation to get everybody as sick as they can possibly be before they go to the doctor. Get everything going. Get measles, get rubella, get COVID, and then go to the doctor. Don't go 3 times in a year. Catch everything and then go and let him work on that. It's a time-saving device.
Yeah,
Bobby Kennedy came
another
up with that.
idiot that's going to fix. Yeah, another idiot that's going to fix everything.
I can't
Another
make out
guy
what he's
that's gonna-
saying when he's defending himself and trying to come up with some sort of a semblance of an answer, which is very rare. I don't know what the fuck he's saying. He's speaking in a shorthand that I can't decipher. It makes no sense, and he's angry about it, whatever it is. He's very displeased. He's agitated. But what is he doing, and what is he recommending, and who's listening to him, and what does his staff say in the morning when they meet? What are they fucking doing? What are these people up to?
I don't know, but we're paying them.
Yeah.
We're paying them a handsome salary,
We're paying for it, that's for sure.
and we're paying for it. You're right. We're paying for it. So that's the world as it sits this morning.
Well, Vinnie, what are you driving?
We haven't scratched the surface of one of the most important things, and that is the Spolpakian Navy being invited to participate in the blockade of the Straits of Hormuz. But we'll save that for Monday.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because they, as a Navy, they have the hardest time getting through the Strait of Hormuz. They know the way, and they say they've been there before, but their actions do not support that theory. They looks as for a Navy, they have great deal of trouble with their boats, for starters. Their vessels do not react to full steam ahead. Give me a hard port.
Yeah,
No, make that starboard. I meant starboard. Too late.
starboard. Yeah, whichever way you'd like to say, whichever way you think you can go, that way.
Port is left. That's all you need to know. Starboard would then be right. Yes, port is left. The reason you know that is port has 4 letters, left has 4 letters. You'll never forget it.
I forget that kind of stuff, Michael. You know how I am. Left, right. I still have to do.
In fact,
I still have to do the Boy Scout hand thing, to tell right from left. If I'm driving down the street and somebody says to me, "Make a right," I still have to make that hand signal so that I make a right.
No, that's the New York doubter in you. You doubt the fact that going right is what he really wanted. Maybe he said go right, but he meant go left. So I'm gonna go both directions at once.
Well, it's interesting that you say that to me because I've actually had a therapist tell me at one time that is exactly why I do that. I asked a therapist one time, why do I do this? Why can't I just make the turn and trust my my instincts that I'm going right or going left?
Yeah.
And that particular therapist said to me, "Well, you don't trust yourself. You're suffering from confidence. You don't have a you're not confident enough in yourself. You're not confident enough in yourself to make that turn. And you really need to fix that. You need to not make that hand signal.
Look
You
at the
need to
Mazda.
not do that.
It's signaling a left turn.
Yes, that Mazda. Well, I don't know, Michael. I have to like turn around and make the Boy Scout signal and see which way it's going. Anyway, that's what I'm driving this week. The Mazda CX-90, the plug-in hybrid. Actually, this is not the 90. I pulled up the wrong tape, but it's a little bit bigger. It's a um, three-seat SUV. It's the biggest Mazda that they make. It's a wonderful car in so many different ways. Not the least of all being an electric vehicle that you can plug in, get 50, 60, 70 miles of range, and then switch over to gasoline. So if your errands, if the things that you're doing around your neighborhood,
Mhm.
don't require you to go a long distance, this is a beautiful car. This is a great car because all you have to use is the electric power. If you now get a call from grandma and she says, you got to come down to Tacoma and run me to the doctor because I can't get an Uber, you can make sure that you flip that thing down into gasoline and get on I-5 and head on down to grandma's house in Tacoma to help her out without worrying that it's
What is
going to be
that
gone.
smell there? I'm pulling into Tacoma now to get grandma, and I'm smelling something. What is that, Vinny?
Well, Michael, that the aroma from Tacoma is not there anymore. I've been down there several times in the evening over the last few years, and I haven't smelled it.
Is
So
it
either
please?
my honker is getting worse, or they figured out a way to get the smell out of there. But that aroma from Tacoma, um,
It finally cleared up.
yeah, I don't know if it exists anymore. I don't know that they cleaned or bleached the paper or whatever they were doing down there. I just don't think that it exists as much. Now, again, it may exist and happen at times that I'm not down there. I wouldn't doubt that. But um, I would say that that aroma is not as prevalent as it used to be, and therefore it is. I'm not going to talk about it
Well,
because I
have a good
try to
show.
deal.
Have a great show tomorrow, Vinny. At 11 o'clock
11
drive
o'clock
time.
drive time. One quick thing before we go. Just want to mark the passing of Dave Mason.
Yes, great writer.
Great writer, great guitarist.
Alone
Uh,
Together, one of the great albums of the era. Just one hit after another, one great song after another. Not a bad cut on there. A Blue Thumb album release with a great cover and a great rollout. I hope that you ever see the original packaging. And Dave Mason was a fabulous writer, a great creative force.
yeah, only you know and I know. Original member. Matter of fact, he was in Traffic 4 times, I believe.
Well, he
Uh,
just didn't. It was Stevie Winwood's group, and he kept writing great songs, and there wasn't room for two stars. Not that it
right.
was Stevie Winwood's fault.
And also wrote one of the great breakup songs. And I hate to use the term, but it's how people identify with it. One of the great yacht rock songs. We Just Disagree.
Mhm.
One of the first great. If we break up, I'm going to punch you and throw you down the stairs. Instead, it was like we can part amicably. We can just, as human beings, walk away from each other. And you can still be my friend and I'll still be your friend, but we're just not meant to be together.
It's like Canada and Donald Trump; the two shall never meet.
Hopefully not. Hopefully, Donald Trump will be gone. And by the way, we'll talk about this more next week. The people in Canada are not happy about the Gordie Howe Bridge and how Trump is trying to put the screws to that project that Canada paid for the most part.
If he can't win a war against Iran, he's not going to win an argument about a bridge with Canada.
Ain't gonna happen.
Ain't going to happen.
Ain't gonna happen. Michael, have a very good weekend. You got baseball this weekend?
I got baseball, and Kennedy is my granddaughter is starring in The Music Man. She's the mayor and has a big part, lots of lines. What's your phraseology? And if you've ever seen the movie The Music Man, Paul Ford plays the mayor of the town. That's my granddaughter.
Paul Ford, one of the hidden talents
Great
of the
comic actor.
50s and the 60s. Great actor. Great actor.
He does the subtle double take. He goes, what?
He stole the show, and the Russians are coming. The Russians are coming.
Yeah.
You know, which was such a great movie that probably half people have never seen, but just one of those guys that so I'm glad she's got that part, and I'm glad that that you're going to go out and see her and support her. And when she is a big star, we will always be able to say, "Your Grandpa Michael, let us know about you first."
Except I'm not the grandpa. I'm the Commodore.
That's right, the Commodore. That's right. Get the hat. I should have known. I'm an idiot. Listen. I can't tell my left from my right. So, what do you want, Michael?
I want you to trust the good people of Queens. They didn't mean it. They put doubt into your mind. There's no doubt. There's a left and there's a right. The two should never be confused with one another. It's just hard to know which way to go.
If it's in Queens, they meant it. Michael, have a good weekend. I'll see you Monday if the Lord's will. The creek don't rise. Don't forget 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Drive time right here. Just go to our Facebook and click on that thing, and you'll be able to go right to our YouTube channel. And if you go to our YouTube channel, please like it and please subscribe to it. We need your subscriptions. We need your likes. It's how YouTube figures out their rhythm, their biorhythm. Whatever the rhythm they use, I don't know.
We want to thank our new fans in Kenya. We don't know who you are, what you're up to, and we don't want to know. Thanks for watching.
One of them is up here this morning. El Dem U9Q is up there, and thank God and thank the chiefs and the tribal people in Kenya for letting you partake in our great little radio endeavor every Monday.
And for all the restaurants in Nairobi, work on your pastrami sandwiches. You got the bread right, but you got to get the mustard right.
Yeah, you got to get the mustard right, or else you're in trouble. Right. Michael, peace, love, Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine. See you, Vinnie.
Have a good show tomorrow. Take care. Thanks. See you Monday. Thank you all for listening, too. We always appreciate it.